How's it going, everybody? This is Stephen Anthony Lawrence here with my co-host Max Rice. This is the Rice and Beans Show. Today we got a pretty crazy show for you. Basically because of all the crap going on in Afghanistan right now. I want to introduce you to my great friend, my old neighbor, actually a war veteran from Iraq. He was actually stationed right next to Baghdad for the time they were there. I'd like to introduce you to my great friend, Tony Robledo.
How's it going, everybody?
Welcome, Tony.
Buddy. So, man, thank you so much for having on. I love you so much. Thank you so much for your service. First off, gotta ask you, it's kind of a shit show over there right now, huh, man?
Yeah. First of all, I love you too, man. And just, it's one of those days where you saw it coming, but you just hoped it never did.
Yeah.
And Tony, we just met, so I'm not going to commit to any sort of love thing yet. But
it's all good.
We
go back.
Yeah.
We were neighbors for like back in 2013, so we're good.
So I'm not going to break up this
the bro fest. I know, but
we're going to be talking for an hour. But this was expected. So that was like Tony. A lot of people were saying that like maybe we had to be there for 100 years. So this was imminent, or does it matter when or was it kind of the way we did it, or what are your thoughts?
Honestly, it's almost like a second Vietnam. We went to a place that we had kind of no business going against people who know their land, and they're guerrilla fighters, just like the Viet Cong were. They know how to hold down, they know how to bunker, they know how to properly just utilize other resources, even if they didn't have a jungle or any kind of modern technology. They knew how to use what they had because they've been using them for centuries.
Here's the thing, though, with Vietnam, though, it took them, if I remember right, it took them a while for them to regain control of Vietnam. It took them a couple years, if I remember right. And this just seemed, as soon as they left, it was boom. Is that a sign of the times or like the terrain? What do you think?
Yeah, so people that I know that have been over to Iraq, it's first of all, when we went over to Afghanistan and in Iraq, we just straight invaded and we took out most of their defenses. Like even in Iraq and Afghanistan, tanks, helicopters, anything that the armies could use, so we can just move on in and not have a resistance at all. And of course, they just killed over. Both countries did. But we were going up against an army. We weren't trying to go up against the initial threat that really did try to oppose us.
Right.
And
what was the threat? Kind of like the anti-democracy way of life? You were talking about that earlier.
So the Taliban were against us being there, especially once we started to try and get democracy going, and in our vision, improve their way of living. And they wanted to be more traditional. This is our cultures. These are our beliefs. We've believed in them for centuries. They've never steered us wrong, even though most of us know they kind of did in some aspects.
Right. Where's the weapons of mass destruction? Yeah, still trying to find them. Oh wait, no, we're giving them. We're giving weapons. Yeah, we're
on the Taliban.
Yeah, we're giving weapons of mass destruction to them. So,
but that was like
the 80s. You guys hear the Bill Hicks joke where he goes like, they're like, and they have this weapon and that weapon. And like, how do you know? And it's like, because we checked the receipts. Receipts when we sold it to them. But now I got a question for both of you guys: is where would you draw the line? Because there is just respecting cultures, but when does a culture go too far? Like in Afghanistan, there's the
like an occupying force to go too far, pushing their own beliefs. It's
like when do the United States need to get involved in general?
I mean, we're more of like a police force.
Yeah,
and those are like a neighborhood. If something really bad's going to happen, we're going to get a call. But if something, if they're just doing their own business and they're not really disturbing anyone else, whatever, just. So
like civil war, genocide, nuclear is kind of where you draw the line.
I would say because it's over there, it's tough. Civil war could be for any reason. We've had our own civil war over just ideology of slavery. Iraq has had their own civil war going on for centuries because one side believes one prophet, one side believes the other prophet. They're both under Muslim religion, but depends on who you believe in and what lessons you want to follow from them. And same thing with Afghanistan. It might not be religion, but it's also just cultures and prospects of just trying to be more modern or stick to being traditional. That could also just be a good use for a civil war. And that's something that, no matter what country you look at it, you got to work out on its own. Yeah, having a third force go in there and try and break it up and say, cool the fuck down, let's talk this out. It's not going to work.
$1 million would be nice right now. I will say that. And
that is kind of what
service. Thank you so much. But
that is kind of what America does, though. They do kind of play America World Police. I mean, it literally inspired a movie. So
it's
there,
a true story, that movie too.
Yeah. So yeah. I don't know what the right answer is though. So let me guys ask you about this.
No, but but Steven, you would be for World War II.
Yes, exactly. Right? But here's that's exactly what I was going to bring up. It kind of disturbs me that we didn't give a shit about Hitler, taking over Europe until we got attacked by the Japanese, and then all of a sudden we give a shit. We didn't
really give too much of a shit about Hitler even after we got bombed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what I would have supported going in and fucking taking out Hitler because fuck that guy, right?
Well, I think
we can all agree there.
What about Myanmar or even Mexico to a degree, in terms of the cartels? Because that to me are human rights tragedies, and because oil is involved or some sort of net gold, we just kind of ignore it.
That's bringing Mexico into that, it's almost to me like a different ball game.
Yeah, and by Mexico, I definitely mean cartels.
Well, I know, but because you got those people who are just running drugs. They're not trying to run a country. And you got a lot of lowers, you got a lot of middle people, you got a lot of hires. And the hires in the middle, they're willing to fight.
Yeah.
Of course, at the expense of the lowers, but still, they're just trying to keep an operation going.
It would definitely not be 8 hours. But just...
I don't know. They have enough of a force to definitely take out at least Mexico City if they really wanted to. But if they can just keep the peace, almost like the Yakuza, if they can just keep the peace and just show people we're kind of worth staying here, they'll show it.
Well, what's going on. It doesn't seem like there's collaboration between the two because there was $100 million payment to the last president.
Well, because the opium's all grown in Afghanistan.
Oh, opium. I looked this up before this episode. 16% of their entire economy is opium. And they're also the world leader in growing marijuana. So Afghan Kush is a real thing. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got the environment, and honestly, just being in the middle of a desert, if that's your only export to bring your family and your country money, fuck, just let that shit run wild.
That's gonna have
not a lot of options
too on the people. And also I get it, because just from a farmer's perspective, you want to just have the most returns from your acreage as possible. And opium and cannabis are very profitable per square foot, and that's really what it's about. And when the government's encouraging it, or the government is doing it,
so it's a big cycle. We take their drugs and they take our guns, and we it's I don't know the right answer, man.
It's a trade of necessary evils. You want them to be legit, but they have no other option but to do something that we consider illegal.
And we're feeding into it too. We're a lot of the consumers.
And exactly. So, everybody wants to blame, Biden or Bush or Obama or Trump or whoever. But you know what, Beans. Man? Or Beans. But, we gotta, take a look in the mirror here. Think about it. Obviously, now, why does a politician do anything to get reelected? I was
going to say, why they do anything is because they got their pockets lined by other people. That's
exactly. So if you don't think they're statistically looking at the polls right now and doing, going by it like that, you're a little naive, in my opinion. So think about it. Now, the vast majority of people, realize we've been at war now for the last 20 years, and that's all our generation has known. So obviously, our generation is going to be a little more anti-war because that's all we know, and we're sick and tired of it. That being said, I don't know anybody back in 2001 who wasn't hell-bent on going in and kicking some ass because, they lost a friend during 9/11 or something.
Well, that was an extraordinary moment. And I think polling was 90 plus support.
Yeah.
Well,
And
you can't
That information.
argue with results. I mean, the towers happen.
Yeah.
No one can deny it. That's going to get people riled up regardless. It's not saying what Bush said. They have weapons of mass destruction. Over there, it's like, no, like, dude, they were attacked. They attacked us on our soil. Like,
Yeah, Afghanistan.
screw the weapons of mass destruction.
Iraq.
Exactly. Thank you, Tony. Yes, I agree with that, man. Wholeheartedly.
Except I will say, like, Saudi Arabia got a pass because like 17, I think it was like 90%,
most of the
hijackers.
We're from there.
And Osama bin Laden himself.
Yeah.
But regardless, it's.
Well, yeah. What are we gonna do though? They're one of our biggest allies over there.
That's another question I have for both Tony and you. Is like, how much do we look the other way when money's involved?
It seems like it seems like increasingly more, guys. To be real,
that seems like a political question that's meant for a politician, because I know my pockets aren't being lined with that money.
Maybe that's for me because Disney Channel and the Chinese influence. Maybe that was targeted towards me. Maybe I don't know.
No, not just.
I'm not commenting on it. Listen, don't Scarlett Johansson me. I still want to work through the mouse.
I don't know why you're talking about, man. Like, let's be honest. Disney could buy China if they wanted.
Oh God, yeah.
No, they couldn't. Or maybe they are China, if anything. But no, they couldn't buy China.
They could. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they could. They bought everything else. They could probably buy China.
They could buy Brazil, maybe. No.
They do. Well, they do own an island in the Bahamas. I actually took a Disney cruise there once.
Let's look this up.
Long story.
Let's look this up.
But man, gosh,
Disney
in some way, yeah, it's like going back to the responsibility of it. I feel so bad because we're leaving all these soldiers pretty much high and dry. A lot of them probably are going to be captured, and let's be real, some pretty messed up shit is going to be done to these guys. That were
okay. I looked this up. Disney's market cap is $325 billion.
I'd argue that the Taliban doesn't have the same morals we would with POWs.
No, because they don't have the Geneva Convention.
Yeah,
that they have to follow.
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking about that too when I was talking to my girlfriend, because she's never really known too much about the war at all. She's never really turned a blind eye to it, but she never wanted to read the news about it. She had friends that joined the military. She knew that they died fighting the war, but she didn't want to know what all was going on over there. That's not our influence. That's mainly just how these people are living day by day, even before we went over there.
Yeah.
And I was like, when we went over there, we had to declare war with Afghanistan, but we're not fighting the Afghanistan army. We have to follow Geneva Convention rules because we're part of that.
Right.
They don't. They can operate however they want.
The guerrilla warfare you were talking about earlier.
Well, not just guerrilla warfare. Like, even after all the, like, they can do the torturing. They can do, any kind of like certain weapons that we aren't allowed to use, like incendiary weapons on other soldiers or other armies. They can use on us.
Right.
Like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's really hard to say exactly what they'll do and when, but they do have the option to do it because they're not bound by any kind of law for it.
So that gives them an advantage, major advantage, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So,
wow.
I don't know. Is there a good answer here, Tony? What's your advice, man?
It's always, man, like I told you the last time we talked, it's very gray area. It's there's no perfect answer for it that gives any kind of definitive closure or meaning. It's just looking at possibilities and saying this could happen, expect it. Hopefully it won't. But like I said, right now, a lot of people are liking the more modern ways. They're liking being part of a world that's bigger than them and moving at a speed that everyone else is following. And the Taliban just want to just keep doing their own thing because that's what they're comfortable with. It's what they like. It's what they were raised on for centuries. It's not necessarily going to be too much of a bad thing, but
and
don't see them letting people out that want to get out.
That actually, brings me up to something, because I saw a meme the other day that I guess that one Photoshop picture of me and Avril Lavigne was on Osama bin Laden's computer when they raided it. I don't know if that's true or not, so don't come at me with some false information. I don't know.
They said there was porn on there, and that must be the porn they were referring to.
So here's the thing. Let's think about this. Time out, right? If he's gonna behead people for watching porn, and then this dude's in there whacking it off in his bat cave himself,
with his 8 wives in the same house with him.
Oh God, man!
I mean, dude, he was in there for 7 years.
So they love our movies and stuff, but they hate us. It just seems so backwards,
Well, it's a complicated story, and I really think that like there is something to be said. Maybe your brave work sacrificed me. Filming Even Stevens.
Oh Jesus!
your 2 tours on 1 tour and all that. You did a second tour on Even Stevens.
God, man. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
actually really helpful. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
It was really helpful in like the culture war of being like, having fun is good and not, like
but I would still say,
different lifestyles. You don't have to kill them.
That like shows the transcendence of like our storytelling and everything with media wise. Like, yeah, you can hate our country, and even though Marvel comes from the U.S., you don't necessarily gotta be from the U.S. or like the U.S. to like Marvel movies, because everyone just loves a good superhero movie.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Comedy is comedy no matter where you are in the world. If it makes you laugh and hits you in that right spot, doesn't matter where it came from. You're still gonna be dying on the floor laughing.
And the U.S. government does work with movie studios. Little known fact.
And honestly, I don't know about you guys, but just comedy hits different when you're in a dark place. And I'm sure a lot of these people living in Afghanistan are probably in a pretty dark place right now, to be real, right? So maybe these people are connected.
Well, I wonder, and that's a question I don't know the answer to, but like how much of Afghanistan's actually pumped right now because they're taking it back and the West is gone. How many are?
I would probably say closer to maybe like no more than 40%. I'd probably say maybe more like 35, 20% ish of the whole population is kind of okay with it. And the rest of the people who are in the bigger cities, that I said, have starting to accept modernization or wanting to keep modernization.
So Kabul right now is scared shitless.
So what do we do, guys? I just read at the time of this filming that the UK has announced that they will be taking any and all asylum seekers from Afghanistan. Should Biden step up and do the same?
I think it was last night on Reddit. Someone posted that while all the other ambassadors had left, the UK ambassador in Afghanistan stayed, and it was still processing visas manually by himself.
Wow.
Yeah, he was crying like within 30 minutes of filming this because he admitted they're not going to be able to get everyone. And I think Canada issued a few. I think every European country issued visas except Hungary and one other. But
here's also the other side of that. You can issue visas. You can say we'll take asylum seekers. We'll accept refugees. But now you just got to get the people out of there.
That's what I was about to add. Is that like I'm kind of like I wish I was more in the know because there is a security risk.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. That's going to be the.
Just be like, okay,
that's going to be the thing. Yeah, that's going to be
not security risk, but like I was also telling my girlfriend, like COVID. If they take over, it's hard for anyone who's trying to get out of the country to get out. Even though like Kabul's could be like maybe 200 miles from the border, you got to find someone that will drive you to the border, or you got to walk it yourself. And even then, like you're going through Taliban-controlled areas, and they might even be at the border right there, like preventing people from leaving.
So there's 6,000 troops there now. Do you think that they're going to start like increasing military presence to kind of help people stuck, or
no?
Like when do you think the United States will be out of Afghanistan?
Probably maybe by the end of the year, middle of next year. I mean, if we've already been pulling out and then this happens and we're stuck with 6,000 troops there, we can't get any more troops in. Where are we going to land them?
Yeah. They have
and then once we get them in there, what are they going to do?
And so you think the Taliban's going to try to take the airport? That's right now. It's like kind of.
Well, I mean, we could find other airports. We could find other places to land. But then it's like if we go outside of those populous cities and we're seriously in the middle of this desert, thumb up our ass. Like, and we got to find a starting point. But then also once we go to the area, you don't just have the Taliban that you got to worry about and seek out, but you're going to have their supporters, their detractors. They're going to be feeding you information or misinformation. Like it's such a crazy thing to kind of have to think about strategy wise, because you can't just go in there guns blazing, because you're also going to have the people who are supporting them that don't want to fight, throwing themselves in front of bullets, throwing themselves over mortars.
Exactly.
And you're going to be killing innocents essentially.
And then you get another video of us, blowing up a school bus accidentally, and it affects us over here, and perception of us around the world. So,
hey, Tony, how do you perceive Iraq, or like what's going on, like the Iraq differences between Iraq and Afghanistan exiting?
I'm gonna need a drink of this on.
Yeah, dude. You know what, man? In the words of FDR after World War II, God, man, this country needs a stiff drink. FDR, I love that quote.
It's
Topo Chico. We're trying to get sponsored. Topo Chico.
Oh God, man, what a crazy times, guys.
Yeah.
Afghanistan. We're fighting guerrilla soldiers who just wanted to wait us out. Like most of the time that when we were getting trained up for that second deployment, we're supposed to be going to Afghanistan. So we were mainly working with robots, drones that we could use to go into caves, because we had to send them in to clear out the caves. And once certain spots of the caves were clear, then we would kind of move forward inch by inch. But then again, you also send a robot in there, they're good at hiding. They're going to sit there and make it look like there's nothing there and give you that false sense.
And now they've had 20 years experience of doing this. They've probably gotten a lot better at it, but at the same hand, I hope we've made improvements too, because we've been doing this for 20 years now too.
We've been doing it
for longer than
20 years. Yeah, but if we had like a Jericho missile, like in Iron Man, that would be a totally different story. But you can't just send like a bomb pinpoint directly into a cave and tell it exactly where to go with all its twists and winds and everything, and hit the heart of the anthill and just clear it all out. Like that technology probably won't even exist for a long ass time. Especially with as thick as those mountains are. Like you can't even just send something like a nuclear warhead wouldn't even be able to reach inside those caves.
It does seem like the ultimate country to protect, because they have such like a terrain advantage.
Yeah, there's mountains all over the place, and even a lot of places are surrounded by mountains. They know how to use them, and that's what definitely gives them, like I said, just like with the Vietnamese, just more of an advantage over us. Like,
and
what are we going to do?
Was flatter?
Iraq was more urban. Iraq had some mountains, like near the, I think it was like the east and a little bit in the north, but most of it was just desert. And the reason why I mainly had to take a drink, because like I was telling Beans about it, like it was different mindsets, because they're out there in the open with us, and they got to find their ways. Like we would find caches in people's houses. Like they would in the night, if we were in a city like doing a presence patrol, you would find that after we cleared it out and cleared Al Qaeda out of the town, it's like, they just went into this family's home, held them at gunpoint, and said, "We're storing this stuff here." Then they'd recruit the husband, not even recruit, but just grab him and say, like, "Look, take this bomb, take this car that we loaded up with explosives, go drive it to this base. You don't do what we say and blow it up, like we're gonna kill your family." Maybe an hour after he left, his family's already dead. He doesn't even know it, and he's stuck in a crossroads. Do I just define them and lose my family, or do I just kill myself and hope my family stays alive? And that's definitely where most of it was. Is just we're fighting and dealing with some people who had no choice but to do it.
Yeah.
And some of those people that's why they hated us, because while we did our presence patrols, we couldn't fully stop what they were doing and keep everyone protected all at once. Even little kids, it's like they send a little kid saying, "Hey, we're going to kill your mom and your dad. They'll never suspect you. Just go over here and do this. Like throw this grenade here, or throw this off." And you throw a grenade, and doesn't matter if it's a little kid or not. You just know that he's an insurgent. He just damaged a wall. He damaged a vehicle. He killed one of your buddies. You know,
How do you? I mean, I guess it's the same problem. My grandfather had fighting. The kamikaze pilots. It's how do you fight an enemy that's willing to sacrifice themselves to win? I don't know, man.
yeah, it's real tough, man. That's why it's like, especially when I think it was like a few years ago, I was watching Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where two Nazis were sitting there trying to tell them, like, hey, don't shoot us. We're not Nazis. And they were making fun of them and killed them anyway. And then someone on Reddit pointed out, like, no, that's true. Like, they were actually speaking Polish. And they were Polish soldiers that the Nazis captured, threw Nazi clothes on them, and had them fight for them.
Wow.
Like,
I don't know. I don't know the answer, though. I mean, I don't want to. Here's the thing. I really don't want to come off as a fucking terrorist sympathizer here, but have you guys ever seen the documentary Ghosts of Abu Ghraib?
Yeah.
It's so obviously, sure, I think we can all agree some of the interrogation tactics that we've used have been pretty messed up. I think we can all agree there.
Yeah.
No.
But I mean,
because we hold ourselves.
Like, what if you do something that really fucked up things?
Here's the thing: we just hold ourselves to a higher standard than them because we're hopefully better than that. Hopefully.
But you get someone that you really need the information from them on certain things, and those guys will. Yeah. They know that if they squeal, they're probably going to go to hell. That's just in their own belief, because some of them are fighting for family. Most of the ones that actually join Al Qaeda or even ISIS after a certain point were all religious fighters. They were extremists. Taliban doesn't have that. Taliban is just people wanting to stick more to a way of life.
Yeah.
And that was the one thing that I told you that I was like, that kind of got me off of religion a little bit. Like, I still have Christian at heart, more of a spiritual believer, but I couldn't get behind a religion because I'm in a country and I've been shot at a few times where person didn't know me, but their religion said I needed to die.
Yeah, I understand that, man. And I was actually talking with another friend about this, about how just the crazies in all of our religions, like with Judaism, there's a sect of Judaism where a lot of Jews believe that every Jewish person should leave Israel until Jesus comes back, or Jesus comes. Obviously that's a little extreme, I'd say.
Which sect is that?
Oh God! Look it up. I was reading about these people. It's like insanity, dude. Oh God! Look that up on Google or YouTube. They're out there. You can.
That's another question I asked too. Is when does something become a religion?
Yeah. So and then you got for Christianity, you got the Westboro Baptist Church. The KKK claim to be a Christian organization. And then obviously you got the crazy Muslim fundamentalists, right?
Well, when you have enough believers to make an impact in a community, you've got a religion.
Yeah.
And I would say
religion, maybe.
Yeah. People will swear by all of that.
Yeah, I think there are some pop cultural things that have become religions.
There's a reason why
Dr. Fauci's become a religion. I hate to say
I had to talk to my son about this because we were talking about Five Nights at Freddy's, and he was like, the Wikipedia on Five Nights at Freddy's says it's a cult classic. And there's like a cult following to it. He's like, but it's not a cult. I'm like, a cult is not just a bad group of people that look to harm others or kill each other, for stupid reasons. Like, there are movies I like that not everyone like, and they're called cult classics. I'm a cult fan.
Because they'll be a totally normal person, and they'll show up at midnight with all their friends dressed in like alien gear or whatever.
Who doesn't want to dress up like Frankenfurter at midnight?
Yeah. Oh yeah. What's that?
Rocky Horror Picture.
The Rocky Horror Picture Show. There we go.
Oh God.
But even that, like, that's still kind of like a religion. People look up to it because of either the values or just how it connects with them. And it turns into a belief.
Yeah.
Hell, dude, you're a Texan. Talk about football in Texas. That's a religion too.
Not just football, man. As you saw, barbecue.
Barbecue too, baby. Hey, I will get down on my hands and knees and pray to a smoked brisket any day of the week. Oh God, I think that's one thing that could bring us together. Oh God, wait a minute, pork. Never mind. Shit.
Pork brisket.
Oh yeah, baby. There. Pissing people off
there's
here.
this thing called I think it's like deer brisket. Yeah, but it's like the same cut of
I love sloppy doughs. It's like it's deer, but like in a sloppy joe.
It's like the same cut in the area of the cow, but on like a deer. So it's like the chest meat and everything. I was like, deer brisket? Like, I get where you're getting that from, but I don't know.
Brisket's just the stomach, so it's possible. Obviously, when I'm getting brisket, I'm getting beef brisket. Not getting deer brisket, duck brisket, dog brisket.
Oh god, don't be all fundamentalist on us, Max. No, try something different.
Next week's episode is sponsored you by Dog Brisket.
Oh boy, dog brisket.
Oh, man.
Yeah, the people's meat.
Brisket of Michael Vick. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh boy,
Why don't we just get like the cheapest brisket chain out here? We'll just be sponsored by Rudy's.
Arby's.
Oh boy.
You say Rudy's is cheap?
Yeah.
Rudy's is not cheap. They could I love Rudy's. They should sponsor this show.
I love True Texas Barbecue and Salt Lick. Salt Lick was where I took Beans when he was out here.
Salt Lick's pretty good.
Shout out to Salt Lick.
We're talking about sponsors here. I'm doing Railhead in Fort Worth, Texas. Sponsor this show. I love Railhead.
Yeah, what would I do? I usually shout out Bit Bar on like my podcast that
Harry Blacks.
I do with my buddy.
Lockhart.
No, Bit Bar is an arcade bar out here in Killeen. And they're actually pretty dope. Like the owner actually rebuilds. His hobby was he was building and rebuilding all of the arcade cabinets and soldering and basically refurbishing all these things. He had like 30 of them in his garage, and he would just invite friends over because he lived out in the country. And he'd be like, "Yeah, we just drink and play arcade games." And he decided, "Screw it, why don't we just make a bar out of this?" And he's been killing it for like at least 5 years now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, hey, you gotta be creative.
Wood. We got good wood in Texas. Got that.
There's one place that did a pecan wood smoked barbecue out here.
Interesting.
I know.
Was it good?
I haven't tried it. I was doing a favor run and I came across it. But they offer like people who do favor runs, they give them like 10% every time they go there and do a run for a guest. I was like, shit, I'll definitely come in.
I'm sure assume it's just complete bullshit. It's probably like oak or like just
it's unused gender reveal supplies.
Yeah. They take all the dicks from all the transgender surgeries. And they
great. Okay, so you know what? I think this we're gonna wrap up the podcast here. I think we pretty much said everything we need to say on Afghanistan. So guys, Tony, brother, thank you so much, dude. I can't thank you enough for coming on. You're shedding some light on this crazy ass situation we got going on right now.
Oh yeah, man. Like we could talk for hours just about this subject because I know we barely scratched the surface. But it's the one message I would definitely like to give out to people is the news would definitely try and give you like a left or right, a black or a white kind of view. And even when we were over there, people at home had two different perspectives as to why we were over there. We were either there fighting for freedom or we were fighting for oil. When we were over there, we didn't give a shit about either one. We were just fighting for each other.
Yeah.
You know, because just going through a lot of the stuff and seeing what all we were going up against and how every time we evolved, they evolved, like you just want to get back home at the end of the day.
I got a sneaky suspicion you didn't give a shit if the person next to you was Republican or Democrat either.
The Republican, Democrat, Independent, Atheist, Buddhist, like, hell, man, even our interpreter, like, we had to stop and, you know, he had to do his, like, 5 to 6 prayers a day. I didn't care, man. He was there with us, and it was like, nah, you got a family to go to as well, and these people know you, enemies and friends. They know where you live. Like, shit, nah, man. You coming to work for us, we're definitely going to take care of you.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
wow.
You know,
we'll have to have you back on.
I wish the general public could learn something from that, Tony.
Sadly, man, only 1%.
Yeah.
1% join the military.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah,
we could just be like South Korea and just say like there's like a mandatory 3-year service once you hit 18.
That's something to talk about.
Here's the thing, though. I don't know if I would want Max covering my 6. Tony, I take Tony.
Max seems like he'd be in the Air Force, just flying the drones.
Yeah, pretty boy, Max.
Freaking Mountain Dew.
Yeah, he's an Air Force guy. This freaking pretty boy. Okay, guys. Well, hey, I love you. Thank you so much. Stay safe in this crazy times. Hearts and love and support and good vibes go out to everybody who has family over there, some type of roots connection. Thoughts and prayers with you. We're in this together. Much love, y'all. Be safe. This was the Rice and Beans Show.
Thank you.